Hello bro and welcome back to the channel. This is your coach Aunav and I approached 1000 girls in 1000 days and I'm going to share with you exactly what I learned. So if you're a guy who's just starting your cold approach journey, अगर तुम एक beginner हो, अगर तुम एक intermediate person हो जिसने 200 से 500 approaches करी है, this video is definitely a must watch for you because watching this video is going to help you come over the issues that have not come yet. These issues will definitely come and watching this video will definitely give you a new perspective towards cold approach. So watch this till the very end. Hello bro, my name is Aunav and I've been a dating coach for the past decade helping men like yourself get into a fulfilling relationship that you deserve. So if you're single, consider clicking the subscribe button. Hello guys and welcome back to the Bro Thing, and today we're going to talk about what I actually learned from approaching 1000 women in 1000 days. Now, 3 years ago, I kept this challenge to myself that every day I'm going to go out and do one social interaction with a person that I don't know. And that actually helped me a lot. I'm going to share with you what I learned by approaching 1000 women in 1000 days, which means one approach each day. It definitely made me a lot more social, but there's some key realizations I came down to. सबसे पहले, you might think that, oh, he has approached 1000 girls in 1000 days, तो इसको डर लगता ही नहीं होगा. But the reality is that fear never really goes away. You just stop caring. Now, looking back at my first approach that I ever did, which was back in Singapore, I was 17 years old at that time. It was probably 13, 14 years ago. I had a lot of fear and the fear overwhelmed me. But now, things are a little different. How I deal with the fear is a little different, but the fear still remains the same. So if you're thinking that, okay, if I do 100 approaches, अगर मैं 200 लड़कियों से बात करूं, I might not have that social anxiety or that fear of approaching. That's completely wrong. What you'll notice is that fear is your body testing you, and the ones who push through win, and the ones who hesitate are gonna lose. What I mean is, you'll have that fear, you'll have that anxiety, the same anxiety that you'll feel in your first approach. But how you deal with that anxiety completely transforms and completely shifts. Because once you have done a few approaches, you have this belief that I have done a few approaches. There's proof of concept that, okay, maybe it won't work, maybe I'll get rejected, but nothing bad is going to come out of it. It's not like the girl is going to shout, because people have these fears when they're doing their first approach, and you might have your fear as well. कि मैं लड़की से बात करूंगा, people might spot me and they're going to shout at me, they're going to be like, look at this guy performing this dark pickup stuff. No one knows. No one actually knows what you're doing. No one knows that you're doing cold approach. No one knows that you're working on your social skills and you're approaching girl to spark that attraction. But that is the fear in your head because you know that, okay, I'm going to do something, I'm going to approach a girl, I'm going to try to spark attraction. But the public, they have no idea about this. You have to know that overthinking is the real enemy. Most men fail before they even start because they build imaginary fears in their heads. Action eliminates this. What you're going to realize is the more approaches you do, the less fear you will feel. And there's a reason for it. The more action you take, you cut off your thinking mind. Your negative thoughts are not going to be there anymore because you're taking too much action and it's giving you proof of concept over there. So you will not have a lot of fear if you do a lot more approaches. So what you're going to realize, तुम जितना ज़्यादा action लोगे, जितनी ज़्यादा approaches करोगे field में, you're going to feel a lot less fear. Because you're going to cut your thinking mind. Negative thoughts नहीं आ रहे होंगे उस time पे. You're just going to be focused on action and the adrenaline rush is going to be so much that you're not going to feel a lot of fear. But to get to a stage where you're approaching multiple girls, you need to approach a few first, build a mental muscle of approaching, and then you can execute this. Now you might think that, okay, everyone is looking at me, people are gonna say that he's approaching that girl, look at him. But you'll realize when you approach, no one cares as much as you think. The girl you're afraid to approach, she doesn't care. She's gonna forget about you in 10 minutes. So why hesitate? I've done so many approaches over the years and I've realized this one thing, that you're the only constant in your own life. What that means is the girl is not going to care about what you said, how you started the conversation, or if the approach was successful or not. She's going to feel it when you do that approach for those 10 minutes, but she's not going to remember it. Now, the biggest realization I had when I was learning this after 1 year of doing this was I'm taking so much stress for each and every girl. So I was doing probably like 40 approaches a day. And out of those 40 approaches, 39 approaches were rejections. So I was taking stress for all those 40 approaches. Now, if you consider this, out of 1200 approaches, only 30 approaches were successful for me. That's how bad I was when I started this. Now, if I take that stress of those 1200 approaches, it really does not make sense. And that was the biggest realization that I hit, which sort of supercharged my results in cold approach. Repetition kills fear. The more I approached, the less rejections actually stung. Eventually, I realized that rejection is not really rejection. It's just redirection. Redirecting me to another person, that's all it is. You don't have to take it personally. The more approaches you do, the more you get rejected, rejected, you're going to build a mental muscle where you're not going to feel much. You're going to disassociate from that particular feeling that you're feeling in the moment that you get rejected, and you're going to be more in an observation mode. And that generally happens when you're doing it consistently. And that also means that it's building a lot of self-confidence, that you don't really care about rejection. You don't really care about the outcome anymore. I want to give you an actionable masculine principle that you can use to improve your own cold approach. And this is something you can apply almost instantly. Hesitation is defeat. Always remember this. If you hesitate, you're defeated. The moment you see an opportunity, count 3 to 1 and move. Kill the thought and take action, because if you don't, because what is going to happen is you're going to be standing there, there's going to be a lot of negative thoughts coming into your head, and that's almost going to paralyze you from taking action. So just don't get paralyzed. Follow the 3-second rule. As soon as you see the girl that you're attracted to or the girl you want to approach, just move towards her. Just focus on the next baby step and everything is going to take care of its own. Confidence is silent, but it speaks first. The way you walk into the room speaks before your words even do. So even before you do that approach, a lot of things actually matter. How your body language is, how you're carrying yourself. Are you in a crouch posture? Are you having a warm smile on your face? Because that is automatically gonna make the girl feel a lot more comfortable. So definitely first thing comes posture and eye contact, because I see with a lot of my clients, a lot of beginners who are starting this, they would have the wrong posture, they would have their hands crossed, a closed body language, and their eye contact is going to wither away from the girl. You need to understand that if your eye contact is withering away from the girl, it's going to break a lot of trust. So if you want to build instant attraction, stand tall with the shoulders back, hold eye contact, and you'll instantly command respect. Because most of the people, what they're going to do is they're going to be like, excuse me, I just saw your outfit and it looks beautiful. That's not going to give the girl so much emotions. It's not going to command her attention. What you need to do is, excuse me, I saw your outfit and it looks beautiful. You have to maintain deep eye contact, and the mindset I use is that I'm staring deep into her soul. It also makes the approach more man to woman rather than a friend to friend conversation. Another thing I noticed when I was doing my first approach to the approaches I do now is I'm much more calm and much more centered, and I have a collected voice. What I mean is that you're going to speak slowly and deliberately, because that's going to make people hang on your words. And it's very important when you're doing that approach, because most of the beginners, even when I was starting out, what I used to do is like I'm going up and I'm doing that approach. The reason why there was 39 rejections initially for me was I was talking too fast because I was extremely nervous. To cover up for that nervousness, I was talking extremely fast. So be aware of this, that it's all right to be nervous in your first few approaches, but what you need to realize is the calm and collected voice is going to capture her attention. So if you're nervous, you will talk fast, or maybe you will talk extremely in a low volume. Now, when that happens, the girl is not going to be able to understand you, and the rejection is going to happen because she could not understand you. Either you're talking too fast or either you're talking in a lower volume. Now, I had both the problems when I was beginning. I did not realize for the first whole year what is actually going wrong. She can't even hear me. How will she talk to me? And a lot of beginners face this issue and they quit cold approach because of this issue, because they're not able to spot the issue. It's sort of in a blind spot. And dating is all about blind spots. If you have someone experienced who can clear those blind spots, it's going to be a much more pleasurable experience. And for that reason, we have our community, which is 1,000 people strong. All of the people are focused on working on their dating lives, high net worth individuals. So if you want to join the Bro Think Mastermind community, all you need to do is click the pinned comment below and join the community. You'll find a lot of people actively working on their dating life. And just one thing I want to tell you is every inactive member for a month would be kicked out automatically from that community. So make sure that you're active in the community, because we don't need a community full of inactive members. Another thing that I realized that confidence does is it gives you a high value presence. A man who is relaxed in social situations is a man who owns the room. Always remember that if you're calm in terms of adversity, you're considered a competent man, because you know exactly what to do. People are going to focus on you when there's an adversity because you're calm. Same thing happens when you're extremely relaxed in a social interaction. If you're going to a house party, you're meeting some new people, be extremely calm, be extremely collected, be extremely relaxed, rather than being jumpy and nervous and thinking that, whoa, who am I going to meet? How am I going to introduce myself? I hope they like me. Don't have these thoughts. Rather than that, just be in your own element, enjoy the vibe. You got to remember that confidence isn't an act, it's a habit. Every room you walk into, act like you own it, even if you don't feel it yet. But if you act like it, sooner you're going to feel it. Now understand that going out there, approaching women, getting rejected can be a little bit hurtful. But if you change the perspective and view rejection completely differently, like how I view rejection, I view rejection that rejection is just proof that I particularly took action. It's nothing else. I don't associate myself personally to that particular rejection. Now, I know it's easier said than done, because if you're a beginner, you'll be like, oh, there's something wrong with me. Why doesn't the girl like me? I have nothing to offer to the girl. I can understand. But you need to also see that it's all a part of the process. Rejection is going to happen. And any person who's selling you a rejection-proof method, apart from online dating, over there also you get rejected but you don't feel the pain, is definitely lying. There is no rejection-proof method. I've been doing it more than a decade. It's been 13, 14 years now. And I've seen that there is no rejection-proof method. What you will do, initially it becomes like a numbers game because you're approaching more and you're getting rejections more because you don't have the right social skills. But once you develop those social skills, the rejection probability goes down. So the better you get, the less rejections you face. That is what I've noticed in my journey. So if you want a rejection-proof method which actually does not exist, you need to understand that a man who has never gotten rejected is a man who has never played the game. Any sport you play, anything you do, any new skill you learn, you're going to fail at it a couple of times before you actually get good at it. It's not only with cold approach, but it's about anything that you do in life. So be prepared to actually fail and to learn from those failures. And with that, I also had a realization that every no is a step closer to a yes. If I'm going out and I know that I'm going to get rejected a couple of times and I'm going to have good conversations a couple of times, might as well take those rejections early on so that I can go on to those good conversations. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, it's a numbers game initially because your skill is pretty bad. But जैसे आपका skill level improve होते रहेगा, the more you talk to, the more you're going to learn about social intelligence, the more you're going to learn about emotional intelligence, and the more you're going to also learn how to make people comfortable with you. जब आप ये एक बार सीख लोगे how you can actually make people comfortable with you just by your words or just by your actions or just by behaving a certain way, you're going to realize that your rejection rate is going to drop significantly. And another thing that happened with me recently, which made me realize that women reject you for reasons they have nothing to do with you. Maybe she has a boyfriend, maybe she has a dog that died, maybe she's in a bad mood. That is what happened with me recently. I was outside this club, and this is a very exclusive club in Delhi, and I was talking to the manager. The manager knew me, but he was like, bro, there's a huge queue in front of the club. I will let you in, but you're alone. I was like, I have friends inside, and he was like, no, you're alone, so why don't you just approach these two girls and just tell them that to join you, and we can get you guys in. So this was an exclusive club where the girls are also standing outside because they don't have guest list access. So I just go up to the girl and I'm like, hey, excuse me, I think I can sort your night. And the girl is like, can't you fucking see we are talking? Get the fuck away. Now, over there, what was my fault? There was no fault. I was trying to get inside the club. Maybe I could have gotten them inside the club as well, but there is no fault. The girls were actually pissed. They were frustrated. They were all dressed up, all decked up, going out, waiting outside the club for like 2 hours, and then they don't get the entry. So they were frustrated, and I was the guy who came and spoke to them, and they just wanted to take their frustration out because I think a lot of guys might have approached them even before me, and I was the victim of their frustration. So it really does not matter because you will never get to know. There's so many variables to consider. Why did the girl reject you? So do not overthink about this stuff. इसके साथ मैं तुम्हें एक challenge भी देना चाहूँगा. I want to give you an actionable masculine principle that you can use today, which actually helped me a lot in my journey, was sacrificing the first few interactions. What I mean is initially you have this fear of rejection, you have this fear of judgment. तुम बाहर जा रहे होते, तुम सोच रहे होते, everyone is watching me. What if the girl rejects me? What if she says that you're not good enough? And all of these fears in your head. So to let go of these fears, what you need to do is पहले 3 से 4 approaches reject होने के लिए ही जाओ. Try to use those approaches to pump up your own emotional state. Let me explain. इसका ये मतलब है कि you go out there, you talk to the girl, but you talk about some really funny or obnoxious shit, which is actually funny for you. And if you're talking to her, you're talking about obnoxious stuff and you're having fun while talking to her. What you're going to realize is you're going to lose the fear of rejection, you're going to lose the fear of judgment, और उसके बाद जितनी भी तुम्हारी approaches होंगी, that's going to be extremely good. With that, I would also like to say, now when I do this thing, the first few approaches are every time successful. But for you, you don't need to have an outcome with the first few approaches. Just have an outcome that I'm going there to get rejected. Try this and let me know in the comment section what you think about this. One more thing I realized about female psychology is women like you in the first few seconds of you doing that approach. First impressions are everything. So अगर तुम approach करने जा रहे हो and you're fearful and you're like, okay, let me just ask for the directions, let me just ask her some questions rather than showing my intent, then what is going to happen is she's going to feel that this guy is extremely underconfident, because you need to understand this about women. They have a sixth sense to your intentions. They can easily understand your intentions. So if you're actually attracted to the girl but you're trying to hide your intentions, what is going to happen is she's going to reject you, or maybe she's going to tell you the way, and that's all. So whenever you're doing that approach, and if you have an intent where you are romantically interested in the girl, you want to take her out on a date, very important to actually show your intent and set the right direction for the interaction. Because if you do not set the right direction, the woman is not going to take the responsibility. She wants the responsibility off her shoulders, and she just wants a man who can actually lead her there. Another point which is going to help you drastically lower that rejection rate is understanding where she's emotionally at and act accordingly. Let me explain. Now, if you're approaching a girl and she's sitting over there in the corner and she's a little low, you can see that, you can spot that, and you approach her like, hey, what's going on? What's your name? What is going to happen is her emotional energy is not going to match with your emotional energy. She's going to feel, ye kaun aa gaya and why is this guy so high energy? And the energy levels are not going to match. Now, if the energy levels don't match, she's going to reject you instantly. So one thing I use whenever I'm doing cold approach is I would always go in a very calm vibe and I'll match my energy level according to the girl's energy level, and then slowly I'll pump my state if I want to pump her emotional state. Now, this is an advanced concept. If you want a video on this, key it down in the comment section. I'll create a video on this. Now, I understand that when you're starting cold approach, you might be fearful, you might be nervous. But what I realized is that fear is going to show on your body. It's going to show on your movements. It's going to show in your voice. So one thing you can do to overcome this limitation is always be certain with all your movements and with whatever you say. Now, if you come to Delhi anytime, you go to West Delhi and you ask for a direction. This always happens. If you go to West Delhi, you ask for a direction, the guy's going to be like, idhar hai, just go straight, just go left, take a right from there, and you're going to reach that location. Even if the person does not know it, they're going to say it with so much confidence that you're going to believe them. The same thing happens when you're actually going and approaching a girl. When you approach a girl with confidence, with certainty, she trusts you a lot more. But if you're uncertain about your words, the way you carry yourself and your body language, it's going to break instant trust. Because a woman is never going to remember what you said first, but she's always going to remember how she felt with you the first time she met you. Now, this brings me to the biggest realization that I had doing cold approach, approaching 1,000 women in 1,000 days, was women follow men who lead. She doesn't want to make decisions. She wants to follow a man who knows where he's going. So when you're talking to a girl, you want to take her for an instant date, you have to be certain in whatever you're doing and you have to lead that interaction to an instant date location. It can be a restaurant, a cafe, it can be a bench on the park, it can be any location. I also want you to understand the power of assertive decision making. Now, assertive decision making is quite simple. When you're talking to the girl, if you're going in for the number close, you have to tell her why you're taking the number. Even if it's an online dating app, even if you're talking to the girl through cold approach, it's always better to specify why you're taking the number. So whenever you ask her for a number, make sure that she knows why you're getting a number and that you actually want to go out on a date with her. The next thing I notice is when you're approaching women, a lot of women are going to put you through congruence test. Now, a congruence test is basically she's testing you whether you're that confident guy that you're projecting to be, or are you going to fall into her frame, bend over, and just lose your confidence because she said something? Are you going to have an emotional deviation just because she said something? Now, I've covered this topic in deep detail. It is one of the most in-depth videos on this particular topic. So if you want to check that video out, you can click over here and you can check that video out. And always remember, if you crumble, attraction dies. If you stay cool, you shall pass. Now, one thing that actually helped me with cold approach was not much related to what I'm doing when I'm going out, but it was related to what I'm doing when I'm not going out. Am I focusing on my life? Do I have a mission? Do I have a purpose? Because if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a mission, what you're going to see is a lot of women are going to lose their interest. Why are they going to lose their interest? Because you will make them the center of your little universe and your reservoir of positive emotions. And what happens? And because she's feeling burdened and she's not getting anything out of that particular interaction, whether it's a relationship, it can be a first-time interaction, she's going to reject you over there. And one thing that actually helped me in cold approach was not doing the approaches itself, but was having a bigger mission than her. Because if your life completely revolves around her, she's the reservoir of positive emotions for you, what's going to happen is she's going to lose interest fast because you need to lead your life first before you can actually lead her anywhere. Now remember, a king doesn't ask if he can make a rule. He just does it and he leads. What I mean is if you're seeking for permission too much, if you're asking, hey, do you mind? Let's go for an instant date, let's grab some coffee. Hey, do you mind if I kiss you? All of these things, I mean, you still need consent. You still need to understand where she's emotionally at. That being said, if you're too permission seeking, she's going to lose attraction. Now, I was thinking of creating that video about 50 ways how you can break that barrier of touch and you can make the girl feel comfortable with your touch. If you guys want that video, let me know in the comment section below. That is a very long video. It's going to take a lot of time. So if I get like 10 comments like that, I'm going to create that video. Now, when you start learning about cold approach, when you start learning about game philosophy, and that's what I think about it, it's game philosophy. It's a philosophy that you live by. But what I realized, the most important thing is game works. It definitely works. I had proof of concept. I was talking to girls. I was getting dates. But masculinity matters a lot more than just game. So you can have all these skills, all these gimmicks, and you can use all these techniques to go out and actually approach women. But what you're going to realize, if you lack masculinity, she's not going to be attracted to you for long term. She's going to lose that attraction. Maybe it can be a one-night stand if you carry it off and if you're in a club, in a bar, you're approaching a girl. But long-term attraction is going to suffer. If you do not respect yourself, women won't respect you. So you need to respect your own time, you need to respect your own self. And what I mean is you need to focus on self-care, you need to focus on your workouts, you need to focus on building your physique, going out, improving your knowledge base, improving your finances. All of these things are different aspects of life which will complement your dating life as well. If you try too hard to impress, you lose your natural masculine flame. So if you're going out there, you're approaching a girl and all the thoughts in your head are just saying that, is this girl getting attracted to me? Does she like me? Am I being the right person for her? So if you're always going out and all these thoughts are coming into your head, is she attracted to me? Am I impressing her? Does she actually like me? What's going to happen is you're going to lose your true masculine sense. Now, when you're going out to do cold approach and you're getting all these thoughts, am I impressing her? Does she like me? Is she attracted to me? What's going to happen is you're going to lose your own masculine frame. The harder you try to impress, you lose your natural masculine frame. So make sure when you do the approach, show the intent, but do not try to chase her, do not try to impress her, do not try to be someone you're not, just so that she likes you. Now, a lot of people try to do that and you'll realize the end of that is not good because you'll be with a person who thinks that you're another person, so you always have to walk on eggshells trying to protect your real identity. And you will never be your authentic self with your partner. So please don't do that. Always own up to your own true masculinity, own up to your authenticity, and understand that what you can give to the girl, no one else in this world can, and that's your own authenticity. Another thing that you're going to realize when you do a lot more approaches is women are drawn to men who know their self-worth even before they speak. And that generally happens when you know what kind of value you want to offer to a woman. And for that, whenever a client is onboarded to our program, we make him go through a certain activity where he really understands what kind of value he can offer and he can bring on the table for a relationship. And it's non-materialistic only. So a simple task I would like to give you before you do those approaches, because where it is coming from matters a lot. Now, a lot of people, when they're starting out, they will be like, oh, I don't know, I don't look interesting, there's nothing good about me, I'm just going and talking to this beautiful girl and disturbing her. That's not the place where you want to come from. The place where you want to come from is, I'm definitely going to add a lot of value in this interaction. And for that reason, I would suggest taking a pen and paper, write down 5 things you can offer to a girl which are completely non-materialistic. It can be positive emotions, it can be you're a good listener, it can be you actually care, you're dependable. Whatever your true values are, just write them down, read them out loud before you're going out to approach, and that's going to make you a little bit more confident. Anything that pushes you a little bit more forward is better for you at this point. So work on outer game techniques, but more than that, work on your self-respect, your self-esteem, because that's going to matter a lot more. But remember, game is a tool, but if your foundation is weak, nothing really sticks. So if you want a strong foundation, you want to be a high-value man, you want to date high-value women, click the pinned comment below and schedule a call with my team. Let's see if we are the right fit to work together.